Bom dia, who's ready for some food? And welcome back to Cliffieland. This is weekend country number 173 on our second attempt of cooking the food of every single country in the world. Tonight, up to the nation of Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste is a small island nation located in Southeast Asia, located predominantly on the eastern half of the island of Timor that it shares with the nation of Indonesia. Now, you may know the nation as East Timor as opposed to Timor-Leste, and that's because the nation is one of just a handful of countries that really prefer you refer to them by their native language, in this case, Portuguese, much like Cabo Verde in Africa and Côte d'Ivoire in French, also in Africa. And one curious note about the country's name is that it is named for the island of Timor, which in the Malay language means east, and the word leste, which in Portuguese means the word east. So technically the name of the country is East. The nation of Timor-Leste is actually one of the world's newest internationally recognized nations in that it was a Portuguese colony since about the 16th century. It was briefly independent in the 1970s before being overrun by Indonesia, from which it achieved independence again in 1999, and therefore it is one of the newest United Nations member states as well. In terms of its cuisine, you're going to find that it's very similar to that of the island nations that are nearby, a lot like the islands of Indonesia that are close to it, in that you'll find lots of fish dishes, you'll find vegetarian dishes as well as non-vegetarian dishes. You'll find dishes involving tamarind and maize and cassava and locally grown fruits and vegetables, and lots of dishes involving rice. And since it was a Portuguese colony for a long time, there is a heavy influence of the Portuguese in the cuisine as well. In fact, one of the most popular dishes is feijoada, which is one of the most popular dishes in former Portuguese colonies and is one of the national dishes of Brazil. In fact, it is the dish we cooked way back when we cooked Brazil, although not really authentically. I came to learn later, but oops, you can look at the video on that one if you're interested. In any case, we had to tackle all this last time around, so let's see how things went when we did this all before. Well, now, 5 years ago on the Global Cooking Challenge, I got to cook and stream across 2 nights. And on the first night, I made a very big fish stew. It was with cod, and it was very nice. It was really huge. It was layered and actually involved beer. I rather liked it, but in the final analysis, I felt it was kind of just another fish stew, at least the way I made it. And so therefore, we're not doing that one tonight. What we are doing is what we did on the second night, where I cooked and streamed across 2 nights, and I made a vegetarian and a non-vegetarian dish. We made a corn stew, which is one of the most popular dishes in the nation, and that came out rather nicely, although I didn't get to use the mung beans that are called for in the specific recipe that you'll see linked in the about section below. But instead I went with an alternate recipe because I had kidney beans and I didn't really cook the kidney beans properly or long enough, so that was kind of an oopsie, and we're fixing that this time. And what we're cooking that with is a grilled fish, which normally we use skate. However, we use grouper, and we're using grouper again this time, and that involved a long prep with a marinade with a very special ingredient you'll learn all about real soon. So all that being said, we need to see what go into tonight's 2 dishes. First, for the Ikan Bakar, we'll need 1 pound of skate, or any fish such as grouper, which doesn't flake easily when cooked. We're using grouper here. 8 tablespoons of cooking oil. We're using canola here. 4 pieces of large banana leaves, which are available frozen in Latin, African, and Asian markets. 1 thinly sliced shallot or a small onion for the dressing or the dipping sauce if you prefer. 1 lime or lemon for the dressing or the dipping sauce. Then for the marinade, 4 shallots sliced or 2 small onions, 2 medium onions sliced, 1 stalk of lemongrass sliced, using only the bottom 3 inches, 2 cloves of garlic chopped, a half a teaspoon of ginger, sliced fresh, or a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger powder, half a teaspoon of fresh galangal sliced, 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder, 1 tablespoon of chili powder for the chili paste, 1 tablespoon of cooking oil, 1 tablespoon of lime or lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of belacan, also known as shrimp paste, which will be roasted, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of sugar. And then for the Batar daan, or corn stew, we'll need 1 pound of corn kernels, fresh or frozen, 2/3 of a pound of dried mung beans, which will need to be soaked overnight for at least 10 hours, 2 pounds of squash or pumpkin or butternut squash, peeled and diced, 4 cups of water, 2 onions diced, 8 cloves of garlic minced, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and salt and pepper to taste. That looks really good. Now, word of warning, the prep is going to take a long time. The marinade on that could be even longer than the 2 hours suggested. And about that shrimp paste, when I tell you that it smells strong, trust me, if you are uninitiated to shrimp paste, it may be quite a shock. And when it says to open your windows and doors, do what it says, because when you roast that, it makes that already strong smell so much stronger. So, with that word of warning, we need to get cooking. Start with the chili paste. Add some water to the chili powder to make a thick paste. Roast the shrimp paste. Cut the shrimp paste into thin slices. Preheat the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Place the shrimp paste slices slightly apart from each other on a roasting pan. Roast for about 2 minutes or until the edges start to brown. Let it cool down before blending. Note that roasting shrimp paste this way will leave your kitchen smoky and with a very strong smell for some time, so open your windows and doors if you can. Then blend the spices into a marinade. Into a blender, place the shallots, onions, lemongrass, garlic, ginger, galangal, turmeric powder, oil, lime juice, the roasted shrimp paste, the chili paste, salt, and sugar, and blend. If it is too dry, add a bit of water until everything blends well. Then prep the fish. Cut the fish lengthwise into 1.5-inch widths. The length of each piece is dependent on the overall size of the fish. Wash each piece with salt and water and dry with paper towels. Sprinkle salt on each piece, making sure that they are evenly coated. Rub on the blended marinade and refrigerate for at least 2 hours to let the marinade do its magic. Then grill the fish. Preheat a flat pan or grill. A wok may also be used. Oil the surface lightly with the cooking oil. Cut a piece of banana leaf to fit the surface. If the banana leaf is a small one, cut a few pieces and place them side by side. Make sure the leaves are able to sit flat on the pan. Place the fish, slice by slice, onto the banana leaf. Drizzle half a tablespoon of oil over each piece of fish. Let the fish fry for a total of about 10 to 15 minutes, turning the fish so that each side gets cooked evenly, especially the side with the skin, if it has it. Halfway through, you may want to drizzle another half tablespoon of oil so that the fish doesn't dry up, but rather gets nice and crispy. The fish is cooked when the flesh comes off easily from the bone. Use a fork or spoon to test. The skin should be a little brown and crispy. To serve the fish on a fresh piece of banana leaf if you choose to. It goes extremely well with sambal belacan if you have it. Links to that are in the original recipe, linked below. Dress with some thinly sliced shallot and a lime or lemon. Drain the mung beans. Boil the mung beans for 10 to 15 minutes in a large amount of water. Meanwhile, heat the oil in a sauté pan over medium heat. Add the onion and garlic and sauté for about 6 to 8 minutes. Then add the water, squash or pumpkin, and corn. Drain the mung beans. Add the mung beans to the pan. Increase the heat to high and bring to a boil. Reduce the heat to medium and cook, stirring occasionally until the squash or pumpkin is tender, about 15 to 20 minutes, until the liquid is reduced to a minimum. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Serve with rice. Well, it was actually very, very good. I quite enjoyed it. Let's start off with that grilled fish. This is one of the few times I actually cooked grouper that it came out really nicely because, it's a very thick fish and it takes a good while to cook. But it came out really well. I used the stovetop grill behind me. I don't have an outdoor grill. If I'd done it on a charcoal grill outdoor, I'm sure it would have tasted a whole lot better. Now, in terms of the marinade, that was a lot of work and it did taste nice. However, the one surprise in my cooking was that the flavor was a little bit muted, especially when you had things as strong as that shrimp paste in there. So it was really nice with the shallots on top, and the squeeze of lime on top really did help. But like I said, the flavors weren't as strong as I would have expected. If I would have used that shrimp paste based sauce, which is normally cooked with it, as I understand in the recipe, it probably would have had a stronger flavor, but I didn't have the time and wherewithal for all that. So try that out if you want to do that. But I'm going to give that one 4 out of 5 globes. It was a very tasty dish and I enjoyed it. And as far as that corn stew, that was very nice. It was nice because the mung beans this time had that really nice, bite to it. It gave it a bit of, texture, and it provided the protein that the dish kind of needed, especially if it's going to be the main course. The corn gave it a nice bit of sweetness, and the pumpkin gave it a nice bit of earthiness. So all in all, that was a nice dish. We wound up adding some lime juice to the top of it to give it a little bit of acid that we felt that it needed. And also be sure to season it properly to really bring those flavors out. So we're going to give that one 4 out of 5 globes. A very nice dish. If you're vegan yourself, or if you're having vegan guests over for dinner, this is certainly a nice option for it. So that does it for this stint here in Southeast Asia. Next time, we head back to West Africa for the very last time, alphabetically speaking, to have the wonderful food of the nation of Togo. See you then. Also, remember, these are not my original recipes. Links to the original recipes and their authors can be found in the About section. If you have any thoughtful feelings or helpful suggestions about what I'm doing, feel free to sound off in the comments here. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when these videos are posted. And of course, you can always follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Thanks for coming by. See you next time. Happy eating.